Welcome back, Guardian. As always, thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna have to talk kind of fast because this video needs to be like 45 minutes long because this build wrecks so much, but One-Eyed Mask is finally here, and that's what we're gonna talk about today. Use whatever weapon you want. You can boss melt with it, or you can shred ads with it. It doesn't really matter. Your choice, just like any of my builds. I've got this thing balanced to perfection. It gets no better when you're wearing the One-Eyed Mask than this version, and we'll go over the name at the end of this video. Let's talk about the armor perks, the subclass that it is built for, the stats and mods. So I tried every subclass. Void Mid-Tree took the cake. I will explain it as we go along. Towering Barricade with Bomber is going to be something you're going to be using with this build. I usually always recommend Traction, but having that Barricade, aside from this situation right here, is going to be highly useful when you pair it with the One-Eyed Mask. Because of the nerf that the One-Eyed Mask has, it makes it a main PvE exotic versus like a PvP exotic nowadays. But when you get that overshield plus this shield, you can get those 9-second grenades we're going to talk about as well. And if you have those tracking missiles from the boss at the final encounter during this week's boss, you're going to find it highly useful to have at your side. Always coming back because we're going to have a Paragon mod as well. We'll talk more later. Void Wall Grenade because you get that last chance of getting somebody to get stuck, to get those Void Detonators on them. And then Strafe Lift because it's beast, it's fast, it's the best one to go with. Banner Shield, you need to put a shield up to guard you or the entire team. Always there for you. Tactical Strike, do the melee, they explode. The Void Detonators go and blow up all over everybody, attaching it to everybody else, then they blow up and it starts a chain reaction of your health coming back and your abilities coming back. Nice to have, and that's what makes this tree the most beast. We are going to talk about some other ones as well, mainly the bottom tree striker class, but that was the only one that I found that was actually kind of good. But what does that all mean, what I just said? So here it is with the Banner Shield. When this dude is shooting those missiles at us, we have that as a beast thing to have. Whether you're guarding yourself or the team, you're going to see that this build is practically unkillable with the way that I have it balanced. It's got the right amount of recharge. It's got perfect recovery. I'm glad that I made that build video yesterday where you can kind of see behind the scenes of how I tune these builds, because this build, like all the other ones, goes through that same test and nothing can be modded on them. Otherwise, you will break this build. Now let's learn one thing, and that is how to awake the beast in this build. It all starts off with the One-Eyed Mask, Vengeance. Mark the enemy that dares to damage you. Track down and destroy your enemy for increased damage and an overshield. So let's find out how the One-Eyed Mask now works if you've never used it before. So what happens is basically any enemy that hits you 2 times, they're going to start showing a redness around them, basically some kind of glow. You'll see this little dude trying to slap me, then he turns red because he's the second one. You have 4 seconds to kill him. If you don't kill him, that little red shine is going to go away, and then the Vengeance is going to disappear from your screen. So what you want to do is you kill him, and you get an overshield after you kill him, and you also get 7 seconds of what is basically kill clip damage. And yes, you can stack kill clip on top of Vengeance to have what is called double kill clips, and you can do that over and over again. It's also really useful when you have invisible targets, such as these taken Minotaur. You can see one is red and one is clear. Really helps in low light settings when you have these dudes in some situations, so it can kind of help you out as a visual. But the best part about it is that kill clip damage and that overshield, which you don't need to worry about it ever trying to proc. It just naturally happens in combat when you're running and gunning, and that's what makes it so beast to have. Right here, hit that dude. Now I have a kill clip Telesto in my hands, ready for anybody, no matter what room I'm in, as if Telesto wasn't nasty enough. You can also use targets to your advantage as well. So say that you have a boss in a room and a bunch of red bars. Well, you can have one of the red bars come and hit you and then proc it on them. And then you can turn around and kill that red bar target and then get that kill clip damage with whatever weapon you have. Like a rocket with kill clip pretty much, the Telesto, the Trackless Waste. If you're in a punching match with somebody, you melee them, they hit you back. That melee counts as a mark because it's enough damage. Sometimes it takes 2 hits, sometimes it just takes 1 melee. Depends on how much damage they hit you with to do the Vengeance. And then by the time you get the kill clip loaded in, you have about 4 seconds left, which is exactly how long kill clip lasts anyways. And then we have the Void Wall Grenade we talked about, that last chance for them to walk into, always comes in clutch. And now we have some Thrall, Taken, and then we have the Taken Knight. Whoever hits us twice or with a lot of damage, it's going to mark. So it marks the boss. So in this kind of situation, I'd probably wait the 4 seconds to let the mark go off of him, and then kill a red bar ad to proc the Vengeance, and then go back to the yellow bar. You can use that to your advantage. Now let's talk about some more of these armor perks. Let's move on to the arms. So I have the mobile version of these. You need the restorative version, but use an impact mod, enhanced impact induction, build it out for boss melting or add clear, whatever you want to do. But the enhanced impact induction is crucial. We throw the grenade out, we get the ability kills, which charges our abilities, and we get the enhanced impact induction, charging half of our grenade. Very, very crucial to have in this build. Screw loaders. Don't ever go with loaders. Go with impact induction all the time. You need these stats on it though. Same as the enhanced impact induction gauntlets you just saw, but with the restorative stats to give you 8 recovery instead of 7. We'll talk more later, but just make sure that you have that version. And then moving on to the chest piece, 1 mobility, 1 resilience, 2 recovery, a grenade charge mod, and then the perks that match whatever weapon you're going to load out with. That's just what I'm using, but like I said, you can build out however you want for the weaponry. Just copy the armor. That's all I ever ask of you to do to put this build together. Leg piece, 1 mobility, 2 recovery, an impact mod. We're going to be using bomber like I said, and then special ammo finder or whatever you want to do like I said on the finders or the scavengers or the reserves. But bomber is a new addition to a Ristopolis build on a Titan. I usually don't recommend it, but when you put it all together, you throw the grenade, you do the enhanced impact induction, you do the ability recharge from the ability kills, and then you pop down the old bomber, which is going to give you another 5 seconds off of it, and then you're going to use your enhanced impact induction again by knocking this dude out, and that's going to give you a 9-second grenade just by using that without even having demolitionist weapons. Now let's look at that in full time again. Same thing, just playing it in normal speed. So throw the grenade, enhanced impact induction, drop the bomber down, dump some rounds out, melee, boom, 9 seconds, ready to go. And then our second grenade is going to come back at 13 seconds. So you have a slight cooldown. It's always going to depend on how many people you can hit with your ability to mark them to get the more ability recharge from the subclass tree. And then always recuperation, another grenade charge mod, and then rocket reserves or whatever you're building out for your weaponry. With this build that I have on, I'm getting 9 rockets and 21 fusions by having the deep pockets with Telesto. That's been my main loadout because it shreds bosses and it shreds all the ads you encounter in the Menagerie. You can screenshot this if you want to see it. It'll be 238 stats with the recovery version of those arms I talked about. Otherwise, it's 337 if you want to use the mobile version. That's the only version you have. Enhanced impact induction and 7 recovery is better than regular impact induction and 8 recovery. So here we are at this little story mission boss on the Dreaming City. We're going to do a nice little summertime whooping so I can show you the recovery charge on it, the ability recharge, the overall movement of this build at a semi-mid-level activity. You're going to see me shred this guy, and you'll watch that he never breaks my shield one time because of the healing abilities that I have with this subclass, plus the high recovery, and all the abilities come in all together. This dude just doesn't stand a chance. Does not matter how many ads are in this room. I'm at such a optimal recovery rate for this light activity that it just doesn't even matter. They can't bust my shield at all. I can stay aggressive and pushing the entire time. And with the void wall grenade that we're going to miss, it doesn't matter if we miss it because like I said, you get that second chance. They all walk into it anyways and blow all of themselves up. And they get smashed all to pieces, man. This is just a lower light activity though. This thing also works in hard level nightfalls, the Menagerie, anything you put it up against. It doesn't matter how hard the activity is. It keeps you running and gunning. You have optimal recharge rate, optimal recovery. The overall survivability and wrecking of this build is insane amounts of wrecking. And with the one-eyed mask marking those targets, as you just saw right there, boom, everything's all good. They'll never be able to take my shield off with the old one-eyed mask and finish him off, even though we didn't have to. But that is a brief test using the one-eyed mask. Now let's talk about Demolitionist and how it's a mid-fight perk on old Captain NATO. So what we're going to do is use Bug Out Bag with Demolitionist on it in a Lost Sector. Since it has a fast time to kill in Lost Sectors, it's easier to just use that to do some smaller testing basically. So nade is out. We're going to use all the abilities. You'll notice that I didn't mark as many targets with that first grenade. That does hinder my grenade charge a little bit. It's not going to give me a 9-second grenade. However, it is going to give me a 13.9-second grenade. These grenade charges can vary drastically. By having Demolitionist on, you can get 7-second grenades, 13-second grenades, and 21-second grenades. If you're not using Demolitionist weapons, your grenade charges can vary from 9 seconds to 12 seconds to 13 seconds, all the way up to 34 seconds, depending on if you're doing more gun battle. Say you threw a grenade out that missed, and you don't have a melee to do any kind of Demolitionist charges, so you're relying strictly on your impact induction or your enhanced impact induction. That's when you're going to get the longest grenade of 34 seconds, but most of the grenades you're going to get are going to be between 12 to 18 seconds, which is faster than as if Grenadier was on, basically. This grenade I'm about to get right here was 12.5 seconds. I do a little bit of rounding on them. Sometimes it's 13.7, sometimes 12.5, but I'm going to average to around a 13-second grenade with Demolitionist on. But what is really awesome about this build is you can use whatever weapon you want to with it, and the recharge rate, the survival of it, everything about it is ready to go. Like, if you don't need 7-second grenades, you can still get 9-second and 12-second grenades, you know what I mean? It's like, it's ridiculous in the recharge rate of it, not counting the recovery and the healing ability that the subclass has on it. All of that stuff just makes it a clutch-ass build. Now, here it is when I tried it with the Bottom Tree Striker, which is the second best option that I found with it. I tried every subclass with it, and I'll explain some of the good ones. Like Bottom Tree Void is really good because you get your grenade back almost instantaneous with it, but you don't have the healing properties with it and the ability to mark targets. And the same thing with the Bottom Tree Striker. I felt like whenever I didn't have my super, it was all gunplay at that point. I got my grenades back fairly decent, but it was more gun battle than it was ability battle unless I had my super. But when I did have my super, it was freaking amazing in a way. Because I did start noticing, yeah, it is cool, it lasts forever, but since you have to like basically move to each individual target, I can almost melt targets that fast with Telesto or even my trackless sometimes, you know what I mean? Majority of the battle is red bar ads, so it's really not needed that much. And if you're the type that likes to build out to melt bosses, I don't really recommend this one that much for that. It depends on what kind of fight mood I'm in. Sometimes I like to melt bosses, and then sometimes that gets boring and I like to just maneuver around and kill as many ads as possible. And it was at this time that I realized I needed that towering barricade when I was playing with the art class. I wanted to go ahead and just seal that gap in my combat because I hate getting snuck up on by these ogres that just pop up out of nowhere. But like I said, Bottom Tree Striker is really beast with it. You'll be accidentally getting the one-eyed mask overshield without even realizing it basically. And you automatically heal yourself because of the Bottom Tree subclass perk on the art class. Kind of makes it clutch as well. But overall, when I was doing complete run and gun on the boss encounters, especially doing the Mockery, which is one of the challenges in the Menagerie, I found that extremely difficult to not keep running out of health basically when I was trying to go dump the ball in or whatever. But it is a maneuverable subclass. The recharge rate and the void detonators and all the other stuff with the void mid-tree just trumps all over it. But I would be lying if I said the Bottom Tree Striker wasn't a fun class to use. Just maybe not for the Menagerie, maybe for Nightfall soloing or just strike play around or even raids ad clear. But when I was doing the test versus all the subclasses, the void mid-tree had so much more offering for it. Just being able to heal yourself on top of the overshield, on top of the towering barricade, on top of the recharge from the ability kills, on top of having the banner shield for the entire team or myself for the tracking missiles during whatever week it is for the boss, or in future weeks. We don't know what's happening next week as well at the time that I'm making this video. I just think it added more benefit than any other subclass tree, and void mid-tree is the one. Now we're going to check it out in the Mockery, the one that I hate the most. I can't stand the Mockery, but this class will become clutch for you, and you'll never be dying by getting out of whatever that is, ventricular fibrillation or whatever. It'll never happen to you again, because you see now I have that overshield, and though I am chipping away, it gives me just enough to get back to dump that ball, and I'm able to do this entire encounter and every encounter going forward after I put this build on without having a single hiccup because of the recharge abilities of my health and all this stuff you're about to see right here. Hit a melee dude on that guy, he gets hit by the grenade, the overshield procs, I got just enough health to make it back. Thank God, because of that overshield procking, I made it there just in time. I'm about to go in one more time. I'm going to be popping super this time and see what happens with it. I have the banner shield, so I can pop that up if I need to heal, and I can also get my health back when I'm doing that. Smack a dude up. Let me get up out of here because I got my health back with the banner shield. It gives me just enough time to go slam it in, and that is what makes it really clutch. Once I figured that out for the Mockery, that was when I realized how beast the one-eyed mask is and how subtle that it is. Now we're going to look at some survival rates on the recovery as well as the one-eyed mask when it's in some run and gun combat. Throw the nade out, you mark some targets, you do the melee. By the way, I am around 709 light right here, so I'm a little bit under light for the encounter, but I wanted to do this just to check out the survivability against lower light, so it's hard for me to do melee kills on people, things like that. Like right here, try to melee this dude, he is not dying, my health is going down, but luckily I got one-eyed mask on, it bumps my health up, and I got recuperation orb coming in clutch. Now let's take a look at the crowd control strategies you can use with the towering barricade and the void detonators. So if you know they're going to be coming out of a specific door, you can lay your towering barricade and start planting mines or grenades or whatever you have to do, or just mark them with the ability kills basically, such as this right here. Do the melee, everybody gets blown up at that point, and you get that hella recharge rate coming back as well. Just keep them running and gunning, take off to the next door. You know they're about to come out that way as well. Pop the barricade up, get you a little 5-second recharge, do the melee, get the enhanced impact induction, throw the grenade, start busting everybody up with it, just over and over and over again with these abilities and this health recharge, ability recharge. Not only that, you're also healing your allies who are near you by doing that, and Telesto just wipes out the entire arena. Now let's take a look at these clutch one-eyed mask overshields that will be happening when you're not even trying to make them happen. You're just doing your slay out combat, just running in and trying to F shiz up. Now dude over there tries to hit me, I throw rockets over there, now I have the overshield ready to find anybody else who's ready to come in. We drop the nade down, looking to mark anybody. This dude's gonna walk into it. That's why we use the void wall, because it gives us that second chance of somebody else to get hit. There's a dude, he's marked. We're gonna walk up in here, get the overshield, do the melee, get more health back. We were completely covered, knock the rocket out. We just killed like 40 ads out of nowhere basically, just by having this build on and being able to run and gun and stay alive with this incredible healing. Now we have another overshield right there, giving us our health back again. And we throw a rocket at that dude because who cares? The way I have my Guardian built out on this build is I can hold 9 rockets and 21 fusion reserves with the Telesto because of the deeper pockets. Also, that's cool. When they walk into your barricade, they get blasted. But like I said, I'm not really tripping on building out for Swarm of the Raven or high DPS boss melting weapons. I like to have fun in this game, and I can still shred bosses plenty fine with all my abilities and all the ammo that I can carry. I know how to move my dude around to get all that work done, so I don't need to have all these like retarded DPS weapons on, because they're not really good on the fly like the weapons that I use are on console. So that's why I don't really care about some of the boss melting weapons. But we throw the barricade up, keeping us alive. Dude tries to bust my shield, but the ability heals me. I'm jumping right back in the battle, not even caring, because we got that super and about to go to work on this dude, start slapping him around. I love the super on the void mid tree just because it has that option of the banner shield or this shredding power of just tearing through every one of these ads. It's just unstoppable, man. I get healed every time I kill anything pretty much, and my abilities come back so fast then I'm always getting healed, or I'm always getting the overshield on me from the one-eyed mask. Like I said, it's such a subtle exotic, and that's how it got nerfed. It's not such a beast anymore, but for PvE gameplay, it's absolutely one of the most clutch things you can have when you pair it with the right subclass, such as that void mid tree. And when you apply the 2 grenade mods, 2 melee mods, and that 1 paragon mod, you get your bomber back, you get your grenades back, you get your melees back, on top of the ability recharge. Everything is balanced to so much optimal perfection with this build that there's no other way you can tune it, or it will just break the build. Having all this ability recharge and survivability, you're going to see when you put this build on that you're just never going to be dying unless you fall off somewhere or do something stupid, you know what I mean? Because you just really just don't die with this build on. You heal every time you do anything, whether you're throwing a random grenade out or meleeing somebody or picking up an orb from recuperation. It doesn't really matter. The recharge rate, the recovery, that's where it's at. And like I've always said, if you can't fit in the mobility after you tailor the recovery and the recharge rate, don't try to build for it, because otherwise it's just going to hurt your build, because the recovery and the recharge are the 2 most vital things in boss DPS melting or run and gun combat for ad clear. It doesn't matter what you're doing, the build will do it all. It doesn't matter if you're trying to build out to shred any raid bosses or any boss in this entire game. They're going to be tailored, because the combat in raids, the combat in the Menagerie, the combat in Nightfalls, though all 3 of those have different encounters and different mechanics, there's all one common thing in every one of them, and that is the battle. You will die in the same kind of situations in a raid that you will in a Nightfall. All the battle situations are alike in a sense, and once you can figure out and hack all those situations that Guardians get into that cause you to die, so if you didn't have a grenade or a melee, like, oh, if I would have had that grenade right before that ad came in, or if I would have saw him, or whatever might happen, you got to tune for those slip-ups. You got to make sure your recovery's right. You got to make sure that no matter what ads or however many ads are in front of you, you got something to keep pushing back to where you're never backed out of the battle. You can keep running and gunning without stopping at all, and fully beast to your heart's content. It doesn't matter if you're trying to do ad clear or if you're trying to melt bosses. That's always going to depend on your weapon loadout. However, these builds are going to make sure that you always have what you need to have to survive and beat the shit out of everything. If you want to have a build with melting point on it, I have clutch command right there waiting on you if you want to have a boss melting build on to mix with boss weapons. So it all tailors the same. You can just put this build on, change your loadout, and all of a sudden you're a boss melter. Change the loadout to ad clear weapons, now you're a beast ad clear. It's all tuned and calculated to perfection. So if you were to take off that Paragon mod or take off any of those melee mods or the grenade mods, those 2 melees, those 2 grenade mods, that 1 Paragon mod is all there, so you have everything tailoring. If you take anything off of this build, then over time, your times are going to start trickling down, and it's going to start a continuous cycle of offset recharge rates where they're just so spaced apart that it's just going to make you have to use way more of your weapons, and when you get in tight spots, you're not going to have that barricade, or you're not going to have your grenade, or anything that's going to have you have healing properties from the subclass itself. So that is what I want you to understand with this build. Use it for whatever you want. Go kill some bosses with it, with any of my builds, or go slay out some ads. But just know that you put it on, it's ready to go to work. Captain NATO is a subtle beast build till you look up and you notice that it actually is happening all the time. And then you have kill clip damage with all of your abilities, your melees, kill clip on top of kill clip weapons, kill clip rockets, kill clip 1Ks. So battle up, gear up, get your squad together, put you on a Ristophilis build, and go out and beast, Guardian. Catch me on teespring.com/Ristophilis. Show some support, paypal.me/Ristophilis. Again, I appreciate all you do, Guardians. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, hit me up on the Discord, and I will holler at you next time.
In space.